Today, we're going to be discussing 5 ways to reset your hormones. Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Stephanie, the Healthy Practitioner. This is where we talk all things health, wellness, and detox. Today, I'm going to be talking about 5 steps to resetting your hormones. First, let's talk about getting your labs tested. Honestly, that's the first thing. When people message me and they say, I have this symptom, what should I take? I can give suggestions based on my experience and expertise, but really until we look at the labs, we're just guessing. So I have all my patients get a full, comprehensive set of integrative hormone labs. Typically, we live in a world where we go to a Western medicine provider, we tell them that we have these host of symptoms, and they say, okay, we're going to run a couple tests. They run these basic labs, they say, you're fine, and they send you out the door. Or worse, they tell you have depression and they give you medication for that. So people typically find their way to me through disappointment and discouragement. They're like, I'm not crazy. I'm having these legit, valid symptoms. What can I do about it? So that's when they come. We do a comprehensive labs, as I mentioned. We look at your white blood cell count, your red blood cells. We look at inflammation markers in your body, vitamin D status, thyroid, comprehensive thyroid panel. Typically in Western medicine, you're getting a TSH and a free T4. Whereas in integrative medicine, we're looking at TSH, free T3, free T4, reverse T3, and TPO and thyroglobulin antibodies. We're seeing what is the imbalance in the body. Is it more of an autoimmune type, or is it just your body struggling with energy and conversion problems? Then we look at cortisol levels. How are your adrenals doing in the morning when you wake up? We also look at sex hormones. Obviously, that's one of the most important things. And most importantly, depending on if you're trying to conceive or if you are just bleeding and having regular cycles, I look for women just having regular cycles and having symptoms in the luteal phase of your cycle. You have 4 different phases, and luteal phase is typically I check labs between days 19 to 23. That will give me the most accurate representation of your progesterone and estrogen levels. We also look at testosterone and we look at DHEA. DHEA is like the motherboard of hormones. Not only does it help with your cortisol levels, but it also helps with testosterone and estrogen. So we just want to make sure that that's robust as well. So after we get all of those back, we do a comprehensive plan and supplement accordingly. Once I find what supplements fit your needs, like maybe you need some progesterone support, maybe you need a general multivitamin, maybe you need some brain support. We're looking at your labs, but we're also looking at the symptoms that you're reporting. Next tip to reset your hormones is diet change. Again, standard American diets, highly processed, a lot of carbs, a lot of gluten and dairy and wheat and things that are and sugar, highly inflammatory in the body. So for all my patients, I have them do a 4 to 12 week reset. For at least 4 weeks, they clean out gluten and dairy from their diet. If you want to follow a specific diet, it'd be more like a paleo type diet. Ketogenic is one that some of my patients do if they meet the markers, but paleo seems to be well tolerated by most people and for a general population. So clean up your diet, remove gluten and dairy. There's so many alternative brands that are out there and available now that it's not as hard as it once was. When I went gluten-free 12 plus years ago, it was hard. It was hard to find good alternatives. And I remember one time having alternative cheese and it tasted like cardboard. And I was like, ooh, I'm never doing this again. But luckily they have come out with better options. And really to help reset your gut, this is why we do them together and for at least 4 weeks, because removing gluten and dairy, 2 highly inflammatory food categories in your body, will really tell us. It will help your body get back to this homeostasis so that when you start adding products back in the reintroduction phase, if your body was sensitive to something in the past, you might not have been able to notice it. You just were having these symptoms. But with reintroducing, if you take a bite of something and you reintroduce it and it's giving you inflammation and gas and bloating, you're like, oh, okay, I realize now that it was that specific type of cheese or this bread that was causing the issues. So it really helps you reset your body and have your body intuitively tell you going forward what makes you feel good and what doesn't. Hopefully that makes sense. The third tip for resetting your hormones is detoxify. In order to take any supplements in and actually have them utilized correctly in the body, your body needs to be detoxifying correctly. A lot of times people are stuck in phase 1 detox where they're not having bowel movements every day. You should be having at least 1 or more bowel movements of soft, normal consistency once a day or more to help help remove toxins from your body. 2, I suggest people do Epsom salt baths. It's easy, attainable. It's a really great self-care mechanism. I'll be using 2 cups of Epsom salts. I like to add 1/4 cup of baking soda as well. And then if there is some essential oils that you enjoy, you can put them in. But getting the bath water really hot and allowing that to open up the cells and have the magnesium sulfate from the Epsom really work in detoxing is a great, easy way. If you can't get in a bathtub, even doing a foot soak is really beneficial. 3, I love saunas. Saunas are amazing at detoxing. Infrared are my favorite. I also have an ozone sauna at the clinic, and that not only it's a steam sauna, but it pumps in oxygen and ozone. If you ever have one of those around you, try it out sometime. It's really cool. But for most people, you have access to a far infrared sauna, and I would highly suggest doing one of those. My goal for people when they're in a sauna is to sweat, like drip faucet sweating, really sweating for 5 to 10 minutes, and then they're done. Sometimes that takes a half hour to get to that point, and sometimes if you can't develop a sweat within like 45 minutes, then I look at, okay, are your adrenals functioning, or is there something else going on? We really want to be sweating. If we have a chronic illness or disease that we're working with, sometimes we don't sweat well. So I know with my patients, when we go from not sweating to they start sweating, we cheer that on because it's really exciting. It's our body is starting to work properly. Lymph therapy is one of the most important things that I've found in my healing journey. Lymph is what takes toxins out of the bloodstream, and there's a lot of lymph ducts in the middle of our body, in our torso, in our armpits, in our abdomen, in our groin, behind our knees. It can get really stagnant, and a lot of us have sedentary jobs. We're sitting in our chairs, and we're not doing as many activities as we used to. So having someone manually remove the lymph, there are lymph massages that you can do. At our clinic, we do a technique called extract, where it really helps pull the toxins into the bladder to dump them out. You can have a vibration plate at home where you stand on it and it has plates that vibrate. There's a chi machine where your legs can move. There's so many different ways to move your lymph. Even breathing and like intentional breath work and yoga can move lymph, but finding the best tool that you can use to move lymph will be very important for healing. The 4th tip in resetting your hormones is managing your stress. We live in America. We are go, go, go. A lot of people have 9-to-5 jobs. Even me as a business owner, it's like, what is my next thing that I have to do? And our bodies are in a constant state of fight or flight. I always tell people with like cortisol levels, typically when you first start off, your body's like, wow, she's really stressed. I'm going to pump out cortisol. She needs this to keep going. It's like back in the day when our ancestors were running from saber-toothed tigers and we were just getting surges of cortisol, right? So that they could get away from danger, so that they didn't get killed. It was a survival mechanism. So we have that now, but after a while, our bodies are like, hey, you're really not running away from anything. You're abusing me, and I'm going to stop producing cortisol. And so they get tired. They don't produce as much cortisol anymore. So then it goes from being hyper to hypo. And then we have what we call adrenal fatigue. So making sure that we're managing our stress so that we're not in that constant state of fight or flight is really important. You heard about like probably the parasympathetic system and autonomic system, and the parasympathetic is rest and digest. So what can you do every day to like, calm your body and get into a state of relaxation? Even if you're at work and there's something that's happening and you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed out, even doing 4 rounds of box breathing where you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. I instantly feel lighter. Doing multiple rounds of that, just an easy way to set you into a good baseline. There are apps. There's a Calm app. There's meditative apps that you can have. One of my favorite apps for like long-term mental health is called Liber8, Liber, and then the 8. Or it's also called on app stores Humans Are Good. It will record triggers for your body. So let's say you are an average person that gets stressed and something really made you mad, but you're like, why did that make me mad? It wasn't even a big deal. Well, you go to this app, you put down your trigger log, and you can do this without an app, but it asks you questions like, what did it make you feel? What emotions? You know, we have those big emotions like angry, sad, happy, and then it goes into really subtle emotions like jealousy, anger, regret, fear. It just lists all of the emotions. There's hundreds of emotions. And it's like, well, what did you really feel in that moment? And then it's like, takes you back to where that original feeling came from. It's like, when did you feel this feeling in the past? When were you felt betrayed? Why? And then anyways, this app helps you kind of dig out your subconscious training of like, oh, I'm not really mad that my husband loaded the forks in the wrong compartment in the dishwasher. I'm mad because in 5th grade, I didn't get this award that I deserved, and it trickled on into that. Do you see where I'm coming from? It all connects. So if we can help our stress and manage our stress in different ways, it's really good. There are a lot of therapists that can help with QNRT, EMDR. I'm just naming off a whole bunch of acronyms, but it really is about getting into the subconscious, because a lot of times in adulthood, we are programmed from our childhood traumas and things that we see in childhood. So if we can help go back and reset some of those traumas and triggers, it makes us a better person and less stressed person in today's world. And lastly, I already kind of mentioned it in the first one, but another tip to reset your hormones is proper supplementation. So again, work with a provider that is integrative, that understands how to do extensive labs to really understand your body and your needs, and it will get you on the right track. I work with countless women. We do a 3-month protocol to really jumpstart their cycles, their hormones. And I will tell you, you might be asking, when is the best time to get your hormones checked? Today. I mean, if you are having symptoms, get your hormones checked. You really want to see where you're standing and how you can optimize yourself in the moment. And then in a year, it'll be different and you can re-optimize yourself at that point, but it's never too early to start. So check your hormones, reset your hormones, and live your best life. Thank you for coming. I hope to see you again soon.